there that that the live feed is in the event, to go into the event. Hello. We're just getting started.
We are.
Okay.
I think we are.
Yeah. Normally we just create a post and you just open it up. But today we went inside the event to start live because we're trying to be fancy. But Jackie's gonna post there. That way, if you are looking for us the normal way, you will find us here shortly. Thank goodness for good lighting, because I did not wear any makeup today. I am wearing a holiday shirt. I'm not sure if it's backwards for you guys or not, but it says "Oh Snap, Not Panto," just in case you were wondering. We have lots of fun books in store today. You can get the full list at wereadbusinessbooks.com and then click on the events tab. It's a very simple website, but you can pull up all the books we've read starting in 21. So on average, there's about 10 books a year. We do a holiday wrap up in December, and we typically take off the month of July. So I believe there's 10 books today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, there are 10 books.
All right, let's go.
Oh, good. Perfect. Yay. We got our missing one.
Awesome. Well, it's 10:31, so let's get going. Here, scoot in. Get nice and cozy for our...
Yay.
So, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is We Read Business Books. I'm Jackie Force with Jackie Force Realty and
April Blackwell with Blackwell Mortgage.
And this is We Read Business Books. This group was created out of our love of business books and personal development books, and the lessons we've learned through those books that we've applied and in our businesses and our personal lives. And our group is reviewing those books in hopes that maybe a little nugget or two may inspire you to pick up a book and read or change something in your world. So thank you for being here. And we are also in Raleigh-Durham, where we are located. So
exactly. So if you have read any of the books that we talk about today, give us a thumbs up, put in a comment in the comment section. We'd love to know what your thoughts are on these books. And then if there's another book maybe you're reading that you would like for us to get on our list for 2025, we are building that list and we'll be happy to add more to it. So we did call this the High-Speed Holiday Medley.
That is the official title.
Yeah.
I was calling it a rapid fire review.
It's okay. But we do have we have a lot to cover. We have 10 books that we read officially this year. As I was saying, when Jackie walked out earlier, was that December is our traditional month to review what we did in the year before. And we typically take off, I think it's July. There's just, middle of the summer. There's just, Jackie has continuing ed that's due in June. And there's a lot of stuff just like, just relax in July. And so anyway, so we have 10 amazing, really great books. We started the year off, before I reveal the first book, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, it was... as far as like the reading books and keeping on track, it's amazing that every time we have finished a year, this is year number 4. 4 years we've been reading books. And if it were only 10 books a year, that'd be 40 books, but it's been way more than that. It's been really, really fun and amazing. And it's been enlightening to just, like I said, little nuggets. There's a lot of words and certain books come to us with different in different seasons of our lives and our businesses. So one of the questions we're going to answer on some of our books is, would you read this again? And the answer today might be different than some other time, but it's interesting. There's been a couple that I've picked up again outside of this list to go back to, but I'm not quite sure I would have said the same thing before. So anyway, it'll be interesting. It was good to review.
So 4 years of this being recorded on Facebook, we were unofficially reading books for a couple years before we started the group. And I think just sometime at the end of 2019, I'm like, Jackie, why don't we this is a great conversation. Why don't we just talk about the books in front of a live audience and have it recorded forever and ever? So that way,
and ever and ever.
Forever. Now, unfortunately, we've had some technical snafus, so not all of the videos have been saved. A couple are missing. But all right, without further ado,
okay, let's go.
Our January book was The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes with Amanda Holmes.
Okay.
Now, this was the book that you had the original version.
That's right. So I just had the original version without Amanda Holmes, and we had somehow come together going, I think my book is different than your book. I was listening to the current version. I was reading the old version. I've had it on my shelf for a long time. So that was interesting, and interesting to actually compare the two different versions.
Yeah. And so Chet Holmes passed away, I think, I don't know, maybe 2015 or something like that. I might be wrong.
It's 2012.
Okay, I knew it was.
I re-listened to
or it's early, yeah. So so that time period, and he basically died young of stress related conditions, and but he created this empire of training and education and things like that. His daughter Amanda picked up. So in this book with Amanda, she softens his kind of like real like die hard fanaticism, I guess, on like sales drills.
Absolutely. So, and if we were to just say like in our rapid fire questions, like the category of this, definitely a sales book, business book. Who is it good for? I would say any professional looking to amp their game up in sales. I think the new version I would suggest over the old version, because I think it does, as you said, takes a modern take onto business practices, and also isn't that, bang you over the head kind of sales advice, because Amanda sort of softens that up a little bit.
Now, I will add on to that and say that I think this is really a book written for maybe a leader of a sales and marketing department that then takes these lessons and boils them down into palatable weekly team meetings, because I don't know if your typical salesperson would be disciplined enough to get through this book, but perhaps, they certainly could, and it would be extraordinary if they did, but I'm just thinking,
even if you're a sales team of one, maybe.
Yes. If you are leading yourself, yes, if you're leading yourself, if you own a business, if you are in charge of making things happen, this is a great book. It gives you a lot of recommendations on how to craft your message to target your audience and to brand yourself as sort of the educational expert to separate yourself from all the noise in the marketplace.
So the other question that we have is, would you read it again?
I would read sections of it again. So I was looking at it earlier this morning. I was like, I would, reread stadium pitch and message crafting, like that part for
sections, sort of dog-ear those sections.
Yeah.
I agree. And then what's the one takeaway that stands out to you?
Sales is a discipline.
Yeah.
And there are best practices, and there are a great, deal of best practices here. So, main takeaway for me is thinking differently about how to really articulate what I do in a business differently than other people, because there's a lot. Anytime finance, insurance, mortgage, real estate, there's a lot of us in the industry. So how to separate myself?
Yeah. The one thing that stood out to me was the phrase pig-headed determination.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking,
that's a Chet thing.
He talked about that. So anyway.
That was not Amanda.
No, it was not Amanda, but pig-headed determination is a lot to do with getting through sales. So, okay, next one.
So we go from something kind of like hard that was softened by his daughter to something, way more, I guess, a feminine approach to communication by Vanessa Van Edwards, Cues. And there were a lot of great, just a lot of great information about how to and how to not communicate like non-verbally, like facial expressions, body expressions.
Mostly nonverbal. I mean, again, it says master the secret language of charismatic communication, small signals, incredible impact. So a lot about nonverbal communication, not only how you can read it from somebody else, but how what you are doing can be interpreted by others. So I found that it was super insightful for someone, especially if you're introverted or just really haven't paid attention to that part of your communication. Maybe you're on the computer doing a bunch of stuff and you're not, in person doing a lot of cues or signaling. So I found that this was a really good book. It's definitely in the communications category. I know it's mostly in the business section, but communications in general. And I had found that this could be a book that you could read whether you're in business or not. I mean, my son picked up this book going, wait, what is this? And reading through a few sections. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you talk to people at all, or you write emails.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think it's a great primer for, entry level people entering the workforce, probably a great gift for college graduation, high school graduation. Yeah. Or if you're someone who just feels like you're not reading people well.
Or maybe you're like, why don't people understand me? Maybe this is a good book for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest that. Would you read it again?
I would, again, sections of it I would read again, like email auditing. As I looked through these this morning, I was like, oh man, sadly, I forget. I don't know that other people are the same. I forget a lot of what we read, and I skip through it, and then I really appreciate it for what it is.
And that's one of the reasons why I keep my books and I highlight and I just sort of dog-ear pages, because there are some good things in there. So would I read it again? I already have. I read it and I listened to it, so that's double.
Yeah.
So I've already done that. So definitely go back. I think that's a good sort of reference of like, hey, I feel like I need some advice or some ideas on this situation, or maybe, just a review of something. That's where I feel like it's a good one.
I do like this section. Don't be a bad guy and don't look like one. Ooh, and so I would say that's probably the most important section to read, because there's all kinds of cues. Again, it's about cues. What if you're trying to build a relationship on trust, and I don't know, say you're dating or something, or you're trying to get to know a client, and people are constantly sending out nonverbal cues as to whether or not they're being honest, if they're comfortable, if they're confident, if they're covering up. And so at the very least, if you just want to be, a better person at reading people and avoiding bad stuff, that's a good section.
I thought it was good. For me, my one takeaway was, or what I remember, it's not my only takeaway, obviously, I love this book, so much is I signed up for the newsletter. I actually...
But Jackie does this with a lot of authors.
I love her newsletter, The Science of People. So if you are wanting to better communicate, she is just so good at a lot of things. And she has another book coming out. So the one thing that I remember, it's not my only takeaway, is that she calls it resting bothered face and not the other way everyone says.
I like that. Face. Yeah.
Anyway, so I love that. I would be on my recommended list. So
on that note about the newsletters, you forwarded it to me and I loved it. But it is a simple thing to do. And it's a simple way to add value to your network.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're not like a spontaneous master of creating inspirational content, believe me, other people are out there. And newsletters are a great thing to forward to somebody, or to get a snippet out of it and text it to someone.
All my newsletter subscriptions.
Yes.
subject.
I love it. I let her sift through all of them, and then she forwards me the best of the best. It saves me a lot of time. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
If anyone else would like the newsletters that I subscribe to.
Yeah, she's got some good ones, really good ones. All right.
Oh gosh.
Moving on.
Yep. Next one.
Grandpa Maxwell.
Yes. He should change his name to Grandpa
We
Maxwell.
love you. Oh my goodness.
So another category of communication. So this was the 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication by John Maxwell, and was a newer book, I think, within the last year or two, and was on our list. So we sort of dug into it. So communication was a theme. Starting the year off and throughout the year, actually, we have a few communication type books as I'm looking at all of our situations. So, but of course, John has some amazing advice. You know, if you need some motivation and, or some suggestions for, you know, again, in that communications world, wanting to understand others better, communicate your message to others. Of course, he has always wisdom and good advice and any
he
of
has
the words.
Just great references in here. I mean, he refers to Jamie Kearns Lima and
all of his friends.
James Clear, and just, I mean, it's just so full of just so many little stories and quotes. But I mean, this is like in the introduction, everyone has a message. It may be a message for the moment or a message of a lifetime, you know. And I think he goes on to say, like, you don't want to die with a speech in your heart, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just found it just so incredibly inspiring, and especially even as I was like just going through it today, I would definitely and will be like rereading that one again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say too, like, he's always like, honestly, like a warm hug of information. So if you're just wanting something that's kind and good and wanting to be inspired, and you're sort of struggling with communication or getting your message across, this is always going to be, and you really can just go through the chapters and be like, you know what, I feel like I need some inspiration on this, the law of simplicity. Just reread that chapter. So I like that one too. So what's your one takeaway? You already sort of mentioned your takeaway. So are we ready for the next one?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, this was really good too. I mean, everyone needs to read this book if you're in leadership. I think I'm not a sports person, so I think me not being a sports person, invalidating this book should mean something. I think if you are a sports person, you'll probably go bananas over this book. I loved it, and I didn't have to be a basketball enthusiast to really appreciate his pyramid of success.
So you mentioned the pyramid of success. Would you say that's your biggest takeaway?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I really, I love that. And I mean, the book kind of centers around the components of the pyramid of success, and I mean, just great stories.
It's good stories. So, you know, of course, John Wooden is, coach from, basketball team in the past. He's since, he's passed away, and but just such good wisdom in there. The one takeaway that I had was not till the very end, I believe. I think that's where it came from, but it was the letter from his grandpa. And it was a really good, I don't know exactly where it is, but I wrote it down. It was in our post. If you go through our Facebook page, it was in our post, and it was his, the 7 points creed that his grandfather gave him, which was just
so good.
It was like, what else do you need?
Yeah, it's sort of like copy paste and just give it to every graduating child. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, so many of these books are great starter books for someone on their way to just wanting to be a better person and a better contributor to society, or how to create other people who are contributors to society. I mean, I would definitely read it again. I mean, and honestly, a lot of these books are meant to be studied.
Yes, right. It's not just like one and done.
Yeah.
Like, you go back and you read some of the highlights and the things where, some of the stories can be inspirational.
Yeah, this is a book to study. This is for sure a book to study.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, okay. Good.
Right.
Leadership. That would be the category.
Yep,
I would say.
awesome.
All right, the next one would be
Limitless
by Jim Quick.
So I first learned about Jim, somebody had recommended his mastermind class on Mind Valley. And I did one of his courses on memory and the mind tricks and things like that. And then I got the book. It says, finally, an owner's manual for your brain.
Yes. And it says the front is upgrade your brain, learn anything faster, and unlock your exceptional life. So that being said, I mean, it is like a reference book. I think we agreed on this before. It's like, this isn't like you read it and you do it and whatever. Like, you go back, you reread things, you sort of figure he has suggestions. His story is very compelling to then do these things because he had a brain injury when he was a kid and had to overcome that growing up, and this is sort of his take and through his study and consulting with people on how to do that. He wrote this book, and he has a whole thing, you know, that you can plug into. So good information. Yeah. I would have to say it has its time and place. Like, I haven't gone back to it. I probably would, you know, with the new year, I'll probably look through. You just have like the top 10 brain foods. I'll probably go through a few things. Yeah, this is I mean, really, the biggest takeaway for me, like, I dog-eared it and everything, is a good brain diet. Right. Oh my gosh. And I just feel like this year was like the year of just really trying to understand and improve my brain health. I turned 50, you know, hormones change, etc. And I feel like this is like a very basic self-care list, like a starter. Like, let's just start by nourishing our brain. You know, a good brain, good thoughts, good behaviors. And then everything else feeds from there. I mean, if you're feeding your brain the right kinds of nutrients and doing the right things, your body's going to follow too, you know, with your brain and mind. You're doing so it's a very small part of the book. It's not a diet book. It's about mindset, motivation, and methodology on being able to learn faster, do better, implement. It's really great. So category personal development for sure. Maybe even into diet, nutrition a little bit. Yeah. I would say. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So next. All right. Buy back your time. Buy back your time. Okay. Can I do that right now? Because I need 2 more weeks before the holiday. Oh my God. I don't know. Is there something you can delegate? Oh. Is there a personal shopper you can hire? You know, Dan probably would say yes, but where do I get that person right now? Yeah. I know. There'll be a pretty penny. So this subtitle is Get Unstuck, Reclaim Your Freedom, and Build Your Empire. There is some great takeaways from this book, though. I mean, a lot of it would be mindset over your personal time management. And then not only just that, but then as you are a business owner, entrepreneur, like, what else could you be doing or delegating that is not in your 20% genius area? So it's like, what can you be doing? What could you hand off? And always be thinking of that mindset is handing off those things. He, as best as someone can, give you a blueprint for getting out of the weeds in your business and getting yourself up to the top of the there where you are, you know, doing your best thing, which is thinking, visioning, strategizing, leading, developing, and those kinds of things. Like, if there is a blueprint, like, this would be it. Executing it is another is a whole other thing issue. But I liked this section on self-sabotaging. Oh yeah, like how we get in our own way. We do get in our own way. Someone that this book is probably best for, I would say, business owners, entrepreneurs, because that is where he comes from. That's who he's speaking to. And then also, you know, he's speaking a lot about leverage, but there are some takeaways that you can do for personal too, even in that room of being personal, an entrepreneur or business owner. But I do think that it's probably best for those folks. Yes, definitely for a solopreneur. If you're in business for yourself, if you're feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or whatever, and you're like, how do I get out of doing everything in my business? This is really a good book for you. I would skim it again
And then there's probably some sections here, like when it comes to creating a roadmap for the next person that you're training, there's really great step-by-step how to do that we've seen in other books too.
Yeah, there's some good there's bits of it that you can implement in your business for sure. So it can be sort of a reference to that as well. Okay, awesome. All right, next one, we have The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. And remind us what this is. This is the
indispensable personality profiles that reveal how to make your life better and other people's lives better too. The 4 tendencies will immediately improve every area of your life.
So another kind of like, it's not an assessment, not a personality assessment, but it's sort of like that where you're sort of categorizing some behaviors and maybe the tendencies of how people tend to act in situations.
It's about accountability.
Okay.
About how you are or are not accountable.
Owning up to stuff.
So I would say this is a great book first to know thyself and to understand what style you are. So for example, I'm an obliger. I think you are too. Are you?
I think so.
And obligers need external structure. We just need somebody to be accountable to. So for example, you go to Orange Theory for exercise, but you know somebody is going to be there and it's scheduled and there's like a system.
Yeah, and if I don't show up, I get charged $12.
Exactly. And for me, like in the past, I've had coaches in my business, and I found
I've
like
had coaches as well. So
very helpful. And then and then if you are a leader of people and you are micromanaging somebody who does not need you to micromanage them, then you will be more self-aware
right. That could
how
be
to manage
like a
them.
rebel or a questioner. So to understand this, it's a fascinating read.
Yeah.
I think that if you are, there's different personalities. As a manager, this probably would be a good book.
Definitely.
For would you read it again?
I don't think I would read it again. I feel like I got what I needed out of it.
Same.
Now, if I come to the place where I'm hiring people or I have people on my team and I'm struggling to communicate with them and get stuff done, then I would probably refer to it as a reference book on how do you work with that style. But in the moment that I'm in right now, because I'm not managing other people, I just have to focus on, I know my style, understand my tendencies, and I don't really need to read it
for
again.
self-management. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. All right. So what is? So you. Okay.
This is The Energy Bus by John Gordon.
I was supposed to pull this up on my phone.
Yeah.
So we both listened to, and September's book, I think it was September, was The Energy Bus. And
I think we needed something just quick and easy. It was just crazy.
It's a crazy time.
It was like, what, a 4-hour book?
Not even.
I
feel like it was like 2 hours.
And so while Jackie's pulling that up, this is a story with lessons, with life lessons on how to be the driver of your own bus, about perspective, about attitude.
Yes. Energy bus, nice little yellow bus.
Yeah.
Right there.
So the bus is like the direction for your life.
Yeah.
Delightful, an absolute delightful read. Also a great book to have, maybe any first year manager.
Yeah, it was really good. So 2 hours and 39 minutes, you're right. And it was just a good read. Honestly, you could listen to it in the car with, kids, whatever. It was just a good story about this man's journey on the time period of his life and how his attitude had to change, and how when he changed it, everything else changed too. So really good, easy. If you wanted something uplifting, this would be sort of a good story. Do I need to listen again? No.
Yeah, you sort of get it. I think what would be great is there's the 10 laws of the bus or something like that.
Yeah, that would be
I think that would be a good thing to print out and have hanging in your office space or your workspace, just to sort of remind you to keep yourself in check.
Gotcha. Yep. All right. So that leads us to another communications book that we had, which was Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg. This was newly released this year, earlier this year. So it was a brand new book. He also wrote The Power of Habit. This book was how to unlock the secret language of connection. So where cues was a lot of, nonverbal types of communication or the tone of something. Super Communicators, he sort of goes into some stories about how some people are naturally super communicators, that they can just fit into a room and just start evolving as sometimes the leader or the of the conversation or the group, just by the way that they engage people. So he studies that, and it is fascinating to learn from those stories that he goes into with Super Communicators. Very timely, I thought, because there was a lot of, he also talks about, he has 3 kinds of conversation. What is this really about?
Yeah.
How do we feel in the conversation? And who are we? What
the identity.
Yes, and because this year's been some interesting political conversations, he actually talks about having opposing views.
Yes.
And communicating in an intelligent, respectful way with others about differences that they may have. And I thought that was so timely and good.
It was
so
really good. If you like sort of like case studies, you'd like to hear about how successful stories of how people navigated very weird, odd, difficult, challenging situations. That's very good. He wrote the book because he was having challenges in his own communication. Right. He went on this exploration to figure out how could he personally become a better communicator. I don't know if I would read it again, but I feel like I got the stories down.
Yeah, I listened to it, and then I bought the book. So would I read it again? I think there were some parts of it that I would probably maybe look back on, because he has some things noted in there. But that's why I bought it, because listening to it, I thought, I want to go back and revisit that section. So maybe a few sections and stories that had some good ideas in there.
My favorite takeaway was about the study of happy couples, and that happy couples, their successful communication is that they don't assault the other person's character. And also, when you are in a conflict situation, which if you're married or in any relationship, conflict eventually arises. The key thing was you don't control the other person. Don't try to control the other person. The only thing you can control is yourself. You can control if you're calm or if you're abrupt. You can control just also leaving and diffusing the situation and scheduling the talk for a time where you both are cool and calm. I felt like that was probably like the most of all the things that I'm not going to be in a courtroom and try to sway a jury, but of all the things that's the most practical day to day, if you're in conflict, acknowledging, don't try to control the other person, just try to control yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's some really good nuggets in there for sure. So I would definitely recommend it. Would I read it again? Parts of it, yes. And I've also listened to it. So if you've had the paper copy, read it, it's a good, listen to, because he goes into some stories.
Yeah, I only listened to it. So, but I might listen to it again. Yeah,
a couple chapters.
He's good to listen to. All right.
So the next one, so this is a little bit different, but cover, but this is Exactly What to Say by Phil M. Jones. But I have the version that is specifically for real estate agents, but he does have a book that is Exactly What to Say, just in general. Category, this is also communications/sales book. Because you are, he gives these magic words of how to keep, the conversation going, flowing, how to maneuver, your conversation in such a way that, it doesn't just end, but you can basically get what you want. Not
manipulative.
Not manipulative, but it says, what would be a good...
Like, I'm just, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Would you be open to?
It says that it's to help with the most common, critical, and difficult conversations that, for this one, real estate agents may have. If you are open-minded to a better way of selling, this book is for you. Imagine what it's going to feel like knowing exactly what to say when it matters most. So there are many times I think that this book is great, and we actually use this in our team meetings, that we have a card game. So when I read it again, I listen to it. I mean, it's an hour to 2 hour listen. I listen to it all the time. Like, and we use the cards. I get the newsletter.
To me, this is the book that is the most needed now, to study, to implement, to practice, to revisit all of my communication, social media, all of it, to make sure I'm using as many of those magic phrases as possible.
Yeah, and it's not, like you said, it's not to manipulate as much as it is to know how to say the right thing at the right moment. So it does take practice. So it is not a book, in my opinion, that you can just read once. You listen to it over and over again. It's sort of a study. He has a card game that you can, have the objections and the, situations, and you mix them all up, and we do that in our team meetings. So I loved it. For anyone in sales or business, I mean, for really.
And then, other than this book, which of the other books would you think you would want to, like, focus on in 2025?
Like the information, other than this one, because this one is a major.
I mean, that one's like, I mean, would that be the book for you? Because that's the book for me.
Yeah, this is the book for sure. Gosh, the other ones, I mean, looking back at cues, this one was one that, I mean, I felt that one, because I had read it, this was actually the second time that I was reading it, and I really do like some of her information in there to better, help with that nonverbal communication. So those two, I mean, it's the year of communication. Out of all these books, we had 4 to 5 of them which were in that category of communication.
Yeah.
So,
and then I mean, basically the exactly what to say also dovetails with my second, which would be Ultimate Sales Machine, the section on writing your marketing value proposition, your stadium pitch. I would sort of take that and exactly what to say and combine it and focus on my business, like give it some more strategic thought and how I position myself.
I would probably have to agree with that as well. Although as we're headed into the next year, I will go back to a few bits and pieces of Limitless, because there was some really good health kind of suggestions in there and reminders.
We need to be healthy to implement all of our dreams and passions.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, and this is.
I know we're going on. Yeah,
that concludes our list of our rapid review for 2024. Any noteworthy? I mean, there's a couple that you have here. Any noteworthy for next year?
Okay. Well, this from
not
a personal,
on our list. Personal noteworthy.
Personal. Arete. It's a 20-hour listen. It's a 900-page book. So, but it is sort of short.
So if you're driving to Arizona from Raleigh, you can listen to it.
There are 412 micro lessons here. So if you think about it, there's 365 days in the year. So in 1 year, you could take 1 to 2 of these micro lessons and create it and do it like a devotional or something.
Yeah.
Do it with your kids.
That's what I thought of doing, because I do. Brian, what's his name?
Brian Jones. Or
Johnson.
No, Johnson, my bad.
Brian Johnson. He's been reviewing books, much like we have, for years. And if in his old YouTube channel and whatever, and he's put together all of the wisdom. So at one day we'll have a
one day we'll
have
do it
our own.
too. Yeah.
He's put together all this wisdom that he's studied and learned, and these bite-sized nuggets. So that is going to be on my Christmas list for this year. So.
And then just super quick, a friend of mine recommended this, The Voice of the Heart. Again, not really a business book, an emotional book, but we are emotional people in business. Like, what are your feelings telling you? Super good. Jamie Kern Lima Worthy. Let's see, How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life. Not a business book, but certainly
Very
very inspirational. She's awesome. And then my favorite author of all time is Robin Sharma. This is his newest book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy. Really centers on 8 other forms of wealth that will allow you to live your richest life. So
awesome. I know those are great suggestions. Yeah. And so are we going to announce our
let's do it.
Coming up for January, we are digging into this awesome book. This is Marketing by Seth Godin. This has been on my list for a little while. I picked it up as I was doing my business planning, and there's just so many good things in here. I love the way that he talks about your audience and the people that you serve in your business and how to communicate with them. So we are going to dig into this in January. It's also a great audio. I'm listening, I'm reading. I like to do the tag team, but it's a good audio too.
Yeah, awesome. And just sort of a quick plug, in 2025, not only do we read business books, but we read for charity. So what's really cool is that Amazon Associates has an affiliate program. So for all of the books that we read or any books that you want to buy, let me know. I can send you a link. I'll put the link on We Read Business Books in the event section for the actual book. If you buy the book there, 5% of the proceeds will go directly to our nonprofit, 1C1313. And then we'll use those funds to make the world a better place in our area by contributing to other nonprofits that really help support the most vulnerable in our area. So I'm looking forward to 2025 to really making sure this is the year that we capitalize not for our own benefit, but for making a difference in the world. Why not read and, raise money for charity at the same time. So
awesome.
rereadbusinessbooks.com. Please save that and check out the links. I'll be working on that over the winter, I hope.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that. Well, everyone, have a great holiday. And we will see you in the new year. And again, we're reading This is Marketing by Seth Godin. So please join us. We're going to continue on the last Wednesday of the month. We are sort of early, because of the holiday here. But last Wednesday of the month is our typical live review. So join us and have a great one. And until then, keep reading. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.